Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. I'm joined today by some of New Yorkers' leading advocates for consumer protection, child welfare, and gun safety. With me here today is Leah Gunn Barrett, the Executive Director of New Yorkers Against Gun Violence, Father Gowan from Westchester United, Adam Barbanel-Freed, also from Westchester United, and June Rubin, Mary Delos, and Natasha Christopher, who are all members of Moms Demand Action. Also from my office, I'm joined by Assistant Attorney General Benjamin Bruce, who played a critical role in the investigation that I'm going to speak about today. We are really here because there is no worse nightmare for a parent than losing a child to gun violence. And as the parents of 16-year-old Brooklyn teenager Michael Jones found out, a kid can go out to play with water guns and sometimes never go home because their son went out to shoot water guns with his friends, and the police mistook his water gun for a real Tech-9 semi-automatic pistol, and he was killed. In the face of tragedies like this, lawmakers in New York and around the country have attempted to take action and have made really a single request of retailers: stop putting realistic-looking toy guns in the hands of children. But as an investigation by my office discovered, even this was too much to ask. Year after year, we have found that retailers such as Walmart, Amazon, and Kmart chose profits over safety, and in the process put thousands of New York kids and police officers at the risk of a tragic and even deadly encounter. New York's laws impose clear requirements to distinguish toy guns from real guns. Toy guns sold in New York State must have orange stripes down the sides and a closed barrel with an orange cap. In New York City, where the risk is even higher, toy weapons must meet even stricter criteria. Toy weapons must be either white, brightly colored, or made of a translucent plastic. They also must bear a visible company logo or name. This is an example of a gun that complies with New York City's law. It is easily distinguishable from a real gun. No police officer is going to mistake this for a gun, and no one's going to think that someone is holding them up with a real gun if they use this. In the absence of action by our state, the federal law only requires a gun that has an orange cap on it, and that's not good enough. That's why in New York State we passed a state law requiring orange stripes, and we passed a law in the city requiring that it be completely made of bright plastic. These laws are very important. It is very important because guns that do not comply with these standards are very difficult to distinguish from deadly weapons, especially from a distance or when it is dark. The inability of anyone, much less a police officer in a high-pressure situation, to tell the difference between the two has led to numerous tragedies like the one that claimed the life of Michael Jones. In fact, there have been at least 63 shootings in New York since 1994 linked to toy or imitation guns, and at least 8 of those have been fatalities. So last December, my office began investigating compliance with the toy gun laws by major retailers and uncovered widespread violations. Investigators from my office were able to purchase illegal, realistic-looking guns from retailers including Walmart, Amazon, and Kmart. Frankly, we were somewhat shocked by these results, and we subpoenaed the sales records of these retailers going back to 2012. We investigated and found that our December shopping spree was only the tip of the iceberg. For instance, we discovered that Walmart sold approximately 150 realistic-looking toy guns between 2012 and 2014. This is not the first time Walmart was found breaking New York's law on toy guns. In fact, back in 2003, Walmart was caught violating New York's imitation weapons ban. They paid $200,000 in fines and agreed to clean up their act. But our recent investigation found that at some point they once again began to flout the law and flagrantly violated their agreement with the people of the state of New York. Our investigation also found 150 illegal online sales by Amazon.com and more than 200 illegal sales by Kmart, both in stores and online. A company called ACTA sold nearly 900 imitation guns in violation of the law. ACTA is a small operation which operates a series of websites, including 411toys.com, moretoyguns.com, and toyarsenal.com. We also found that there were hundreds of sales, on top of these sales by the stores themselves, hundreds of sales by dozens of third-party retailers using Amazon as a platform and sometimes using Sears as a platform for their third-party sales. In total, these sellers put more than 6,400 illegal toy guns on our streets between 2012 and 2014. Today, I am proud to announce that we have reached settlements holding these retailers accountable for their actions and requiring them to meet an even higher standard for statewide safety going forward. Walmart has agreed to pay a $225,000 penalty for violating the 2003 order. Amazon will pay more than $9,000 in penalties and costs and remove third-party sellers from its website that violate New York's toy gun law. Kmart, the only retailer that sold these products at brick-and-mortar stores, will pay a penalty of more than $64,000, $50 for each illegal online sale, and $500 for each in-store sale, plus $2,000 in costs, and ACTA will pay $9,000 in penalties and costs. Most importantly, all of these companies have agreed to abide by New York City's stricter standards governing the appearance of toy guns in all of their sales statewide going forward. This will make New Yorkers safer and will impose a single statewide safety standard for all major realtors. All of the realtors, again, are agreeing to use the New York City standard, which is stricter than the state standard for any guns they ship into the state of New York now. So the guns will be easily distinguishable from real guns. And in addition to the settlements we're announcing today with these major retailers, our office has also sent cease and desist letters to more than 60 third-party realtors that have been using e-commerce sites provided by Amazon, Sears, and others as platforms to sell non-compliant toy guns. We are going to pursue anyone who's been shipping these guns or selling these guns in New York State, and our goal is to see that everyone now complies with the New York City standard, no matter where in New York State they're shipping guns. You can see from the map over to my left where they're shipping the guns, a lot of guns into the New York City area, a lot of guns into Erie County in western New York. The message we want to send today is very clear. My investigators are going to stay online monitoring what guns are being sold. Retailers cannot gamble with the lives of New Yorkers. They can't gamble with the lives of our children by selling lifelike guns that make it impossible for anyone, including police officers, to tell the difference between the toy and the real thing. The risk of deadly accidents is simply too great. New York City and New York State have some of the strictest laws for protecting our children and ensuring the safety of toy guns as possible. And as long as I'm the Attorney General, we will pursue anyone who violates those laws and enforce them as strictly as they possibly can be enforced. Now, a few other states do also have laws imposing requirements on toy guns to make sure they're easily identifiable. And while our investigation did not stretch beyond New York's boundaries, I hope that our announcement today will serve to spur some other states to launch similar investigations and to ensure that they're not getting these very, very realistic toy guns shipped into their states. Our goal is for the realtors to adopt procedures that will keep all children safe all over the country. And now I'm going to say a few words in Spanish. La venta de armas de juguete que parecen reales es ilegal y pone a los niños en peligro. Mi oficina hará rendir cuentas a Walmart, Amazon y otros por poner sus ganancias por encima de la seguridad de los niños. And with that, I want to turn this over to a longtime ally of mine in efforts to protect children, protect people from gun violence and from the dangers imposed by realistic toy guns, Leah Gunn Barrett, the Executive Director of New Yorkers Against Gun Violence. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We're pleased to stand here today with the Attorney General And we do applaud him for announcing these groundbreaking agreements with retailers that will ensure that toy guns sold in the state of New York meet the very strict standards of New York City. And the problem is, in a society awash with guns as ours is, it's nearly impossible for really anyone, including law enforcement, to tell the difference between a real gun and a toy gun in any given situation, which creates its own perils. So once again, New York State is leading the way for the rest of the country when it comes to gun safety. However, I do think it's the height of irony that toy guns are subject to federal consumer safety regulations, even just the orange tip on the end, but real guns are not. So guns actually are the only consumer product, real guns that is, that are not regulated by a federal agency for health and safety. The Consumer Product Safety Commission regulates household and recreational products such as toasters, lawnmowers, and toys. In fact, teddy bears and toy guns have more regulations than real guns. So that is, as laudatory as these efforts are, and we certainly do support them, we wish that the real thing were also regulated effectively, because that would actually end up saving lives. Because they aren't regulated, what's happened over the past 20 years or so is the gun industry has moved to embrace increased lethality as the foundation of its design, manufacturing, and marketing efforts in the wake of a long-term decline in household gun ownership. So fewer households are actually owning guns in America. We're down to 32%. That's down from 54% in 1977. So we really call on our leaders to regulate a product that kills each year more than 33,000 Americans and injures more than 84,000. So we hope that other states will follow suit in regulating toy guns, but really we're calling on our legislators in Congress to stop pandering to the corporate gun lobby and start regulating the real consumer product that kills and devastates so many lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, and now we'll take some on-topic questions. Eric, if you can tell him, identify yourself, and let's say on-topic.
Please just say your name and all that first. Eric Dale, New York News. Is this study precipitated at all by the recent wave of gun violence, particularly the Tamir Rice shooting?
Well, we have, it I suppose is related to that. Our efforts really were inspired by the fact that we've been taking an increasingly close look at internet sales and regulation of the internet. We've been active in several different areas on that front, and our assistant AGs thought it would be a good idea to check this out at the end of last year. We were, as I say, surprised by what we found, but we are very, very pleased that the big retailers we've dealt with have entered into what should be model agreements for the entire country. Again, the goal is that the New York City standard should become a nationwide standard. Every gun should be composed of bright plastic or be translucent. If it's a toy gun, kids can still play with them and no one is at risk.
Christy Smythe from New York News. What is Amazon going to do to try to police its third-party retailers and make sure that we do not get shipped here?
Well, they have the ability, they have contracts with third-party retailers, so they've agreed immediately to require the third-party retailers to meet the New York State standards. So that means the guns will have bright orange stripes down them. And we have told Amazon we're going to seek, they've provided us with the information about the retailers. We're subpoenaing their records. We've sent cease and desist letters to the retailers. This is not hard stuff to police because they have to make it available online or they can't sell it. So, we can monitor it, and we get tips from allies who also look on the web for illegal toy guns, and we're confident that this is going to set a very workable national model, and we will be providing whatever information assistance we can to other states that want to ensure that their kids are protected also by following the same pattern of settlement.
Hi, Peter Haskell with CBS Radio. I'm curious about the response from the retailers. Do they agree with kicking and screaming, or are they simply on board?
I think that it didn't take us very long. The investigation started at the end of last year. We sent out subpoenas, and we were able to work it out. It's now just the beginning of August. So it was pretty obvious. I mean, this is not something that was a close call, and it was done pretty quickly and pretty cooperatively.
Allison Phillips in New York. I'm just wondering on two things. First of all, clarity on the Amazon thing. Are you saying that all of Amazon has agreed to require its third-party sellers how would a retailer like a Walmart or Kmart that sells nationally to everybody online stop somebody from New York going online to their website and purchasing something that somebody in another state that allows these kinds of toy guns?
Different states have different rules on a lot of products. So these big national e-commerce sites have to do this anyway. There's some products that are lawful in one state, consumer products of one kind or another, cleaning products, and they have to be able to follow those laws. The situation in this case is actually very, very simple. What they've agreed to do is to immediately change all of their contracts with third-party sellers of toy guns. We're not talking about thousands of companies here. So third-party sellers of toy guns, so to immediately require that they will only ship. Keep in mind the key step here is the shipping. They can manufacture guns. This is a gun that complies with the federal standards. And the federal standard just requires this orange cap. But, you know, the orange caps can be cut off. In some cases, they can be pulled off. It's not enough. And that's why in New York we passed different laws at both the state and city level to protect our children. So what Amazon's agreed to do is to immediately change their contracts with third-party sellers who use their platform so that they can't ship guns into New York that don't comply with the state standards. And we've agreed to take the information they've given us on those third-party sellers, send cease and desist letters, which we have done, to over 60 of them, which comprise the bulk of the sales. And we are going to seek to impose on them the same requirements that eventually the only guns you can get in New York State, either in a brick-and-mortar store or online, comply with the tougher New York City standards. So this is not going to be that difficult to enforce because it all has to be out in the open online, and we're not dealing with thousands of companies.
Hi, Wendy Middleton from Metro. You said Kmart was the only one selling at brick-and-mortar stores.
Correct.
Were they being sold within 5 boroughs, and if they were, which stores?
I guess we have a list, and we could probably identify that for you. Kmart was the only one that was doing some sales in brick-and-mortar stores, and we can find the locations. We actually have identified, as you can see here, and we can back this up with some detail, where the sales were either by brick-and-mortar or where they were shipped into. But there were guns shipped into New York City as well as to other parts of the state by these retailers.
Kristen, I'm wondering if anybody up there can tell me a little bit more about Michael Jones, maybe for the gun groups or gun safety groups, any details of what happened there and how that was?
Well, this was a case quite some time ago, and this was one of the first cases that really inspired action. It was in 1998. Young man in Brooklyn